Las Vegas is the mecca of gambling and the birthplace of card counting. But does that mean it's still the best place to generate EV as a card counter? I'm going to list 5 reasons why Las Vegas sucks for card counting and answer whether it can even be beat. Hey, I'm Colin from Blackjack Apprenticeship. I'm a former professional card counter, and I co-managed blackjack teams responsible for being casinos for roughly $4 million. And yes, we played Las Vegas a ton. Maybe you're going to Las Vegas for a convention or a vacation, or you've honed your card counting skills and you're thinking, why not generate EV in Sin City? Did you know the average casino in Las Vegas rakes in $2 million a day? That's each casino. All we're interested in is a fair fight. But Las Vegas is not interested in a fair fight. So here are 5 reasons why Las Vegas has become increasingly crappy for card counters. First off, the rules. Only 5 years ago, you could find an abundance of 6 and 8 deck shoe games with decent rules all over Las Vegas. But the casinos have gotten greedier and greedier. They've replaced the shoe games with continuous shuffle machines. They've replaced the 3-2 blackjack tables with 6-5 blackjack tables.
Is this a 6-5 blackjack?
Yeah. If you don't know what that means, we have an entire video on it, but it sucks. They also sprinkle in these blackjack variants that are supposed to sound awesome, like free bet blackjack and player's edge blackjack. More often than not, these variants are far worse than traditional blackjack.
What's the catch with World's Most Liberal 21?
You can keep splitting your aces. And you can
Yeah.
the aces. And you can double down with the 3 or 4 cards. That's my favorite on that game.
Like what's the downside?
The downside is the 3-2. Even money. The regular blackjack.
So while there are still beatable blackjack tables, you have to hunt for them like no other time in the history of Las Vegas. Next, we've got high table minimums. A card counter is always concerned about keeping their risk low. And one of the things that can skyrocket your risk is high table minimums. Even with decent rules, it's ideal to have a bankroll of 1,000 times the table minimum, even more to keep your risk manageable. As recently as 5 years ago, you could find an abundance of $5 and $10 tables sprinkled all over Las Vegas, so that the 5K or 10K bankrolled player could generate really good EV all over town. But now, we're seeing table minimums of $25, $50, or even $100 if you want a beatable blackjack game on the strip. That makes the bankroll requirement 5 or 10 times what it used to be only 5 years ago. Casinos know that you're probably only in town for a few days, you're gonna be partying, and you're not thinking about the decisions you're making while you're in the casino. So they wanna gut the tourists for as much money as quickly as they can. High table minimums and crappy rules will do that like nothing else. Next, we have to deal with quick backoffs and good surveillance. The first time I ever went and counted cards in Las Vegas, in the first day, I lost $40,000 and got banned from all MGM properties. Don't worry guys, those were the normal kind of swings we experienced back then, and of course I got it back and then some eventually. But Las Vegas is as sharp as any place in the world at protecting their games. Here's what fellow card counter Stephen Bridges had to say when I asked him about backoffs in Las Vegas.
You're going to get backoffs a lot quicker. I would find that if I got 45 minutes in the casino before a backoff, I consider myself pretty lucky. One of my sessions was only 12 minutes before I got a backoff, and that wasn't to do with flyering. That was to do with when I bought in for a large amount at a casino. Immediately the pit boss called surveillance and had them check on my game.
Now, just because they said I couldn't play blackjack at those casinos anymore doesn't mean I stopped playing those casinos, and there are plenty others to choose from. But remember, it takes more than skills to beat a blackjack table. It also takes the ability to get in hours at the table. The next thing we have to deal with is that it's harder to get around Las Vegas than you think. There are roughly 30 casinos on the Las Vegas Strip, and the first time I showed up, it was like, hey, I'm just gonna walk door to door, casino to casino, and just play table after table of blackjack. But these casinos are massive, and they're further apart than it looks like. It can take as much as 30 minutes to get from a blackjack pit in one casino to a blackjack pit in the next door casino. Wear good shoes and plan on getting some mileage on them, because you're gonna get a lot more than 10,000 steps if you're counting cards on the Las Vegas Strip. The next reason card counting sucks in Las Vegas is simply because there are better options in other parts of the country. When I started out as a card counter, there were plenty of casinos for me to play in my region and all around the country, even around the world. But Las Vegas was ideal because of its combination of good rules, good limits, and the availability of blackjack tables. Today, if you have a smaller bankroll, there are places with far more reasonable table minimums than you'll find in Las Vegas. If you have a bigger bankroll, there are places that are far more tolerant than they are in Las Vegas. So while Vegas has tons of casinos, it doesn't mean it's as good of a region as plenty of other places all around the country and the world. While casinos in other regions are worried about keeping their return customers, Las Vegas doesn't even care because they know you're just here for a few days. With all that said, the good news is Vegas can still be beaten by today's card counter. Here's what my good friend and former teammate Loudon Often had to say.
Vegas is interesting. They've changed a lot. They know what to look for in a card counter. But I've been here for 3 days and gotten in 24 hours of play, only one back off. And part of it, I think, is that they're distracted. They're distracted coming out of COVID. They're distracted because they're trying to get all the customers back in the door. They're dealing with a lot of things, and so I just don't think that they have the time or resources to really care too much about somebody who has a real sort of moderate card counting bet spread. Vegas is still playable.
Here's Stephen Bridges on card counting in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas is one of my favorite places to play blackjack, and even though it has a lot of disadvantages to other parts of the US, I think you can still get some good gains, you can still get a lot of table time. Now normally it'd be very frustrating to get short sessions, but the good thing about Vegas is that there are so many casinos, you can ping around between them on rotation and still get in quite a lot of time, even if you have a lot of time, driving about and walking to different casinos. I really had a lot of fun playing Vegas. I definitely want to go back and play again. It's a very different experience, and I think it's a really good place to go to because it's probably as sweaty as it gets. So if you can play in Vegas and have a good time, you're probably going to get a lot more table time at other places.
Want to know more about how much Las Vegas sucks for blackjack, and more importantly, what tables to avoid? Check out our video, The Worst Blackjack Games in Las Vegas.